When I was just 16 years old, I had had my first lucid dream. And after that lucid dream, the way I saw the world changed completely. I had first learned about lucid dreaming on YouTube, actually, a website that has continued to inspire me since I discovered it back in the 3rd grade. My teacher, Mr. Fitzgerald, told me about a video that he thought was funny called Charlie Bit Me. After watching a home video of a kid biting his brother's finger, I had found my new favorite form of entertainment that I will come to obsess over for the rest of my childhood. Fast forward to 8 years in the future, where YouTube is still a big part of my life. I had gotten tired of watching my usual subscriptions, and I was looking for some more content to watch. I was scanning through the suggested videos on the right-hand side of the screen that I knew were going to take me down an extensive rabbit hole that would last for hours. After being sucked into a time loop of random video on top of random video, I came across one that spoke of a concept that I had never before thought of or even heard of. Yet at the same time, it felt like it was distinctly familiar. It was a video titled The Science of Lucid Dreaming by ASAP Science. After I had watched this video on lucid dreaming, I had probably watched dozens more on the topic. The idea had taken hold of me, and I wanted to learn more about it. Now, I understand that a lot of you might not know what lucid dreaming is, and maybe, just maybe, you'll have the same experience that I did when I first learned about what lucid dreaming was. Lucid dreaming is when you recognize that you are dreaming inside of a dream. The definition of lucid dreaming may not sound too exciting. However, the applications of lucid dreaming are where things get interesting. Especially for 16-year-old me who barely had the attention span to sit through a movie. Because you know that you are dreaming in a lucid dream, you do not have to follow the natural course of events that would otherwise occur in a dream. In fact, in lucid dreams, you can do whatever you want. If you can imagine it, you can probably do it in a lucid dream. Now, when I had first heard this as a 16-year-old, all I wanted to do was hop into a lucid dream as quick as possible so that I could fly around the world, talk to everybody, do everything that I could really imagine that could be fun. And, have that experience inside of a lucid dream. I want to have fun with this. And, that's usually the motivation that most people have going into lucid dreaming. And that most certainly was my motivation all the way up until my first lucid dream, which happened about a week later. It was May 11th, 2017, when I had my very first lucid dream. I had been doing the techniques I had learned off of YouTube, while also making sure to write in the beginnings of my dream journal that I still write in to this day. I had gone to bed that night, hoping that I would have a lucid dream, as I had been trying for the past week without results. I fell asleep at some point during the night, and I woke up, instantly pissed off, because I had not remembered any of my dreams at all. I had looked at the time and it was 7 a.m. on a Saturday, and I still felt kind of tired. I decided to go back to sleep and maybe I would at least remember one of my dreams, even if they weren't lucid. I'm in the bathroom, getting ready to get into the shower so I can get ready for school, when suddenly something catches my eye. I realized that the toilet was not in the right place at all in the bathroom, and I remember thinking, what the hell? This isn't where the toilet goes. How did this happen? That's when time started to feel slowed, and I began to ask a question I had never before asked in a dream. I asked myself, am I dreaming? Immediately, I started performing a reality check. I looked at my hands, and instantly I knew something was off with them. They seemed warped in some kind of odd way that I could not put into words. I remember that I became hyper-aware of my surroundings, sensitive to every glint of light and every buzz of sound. I began to think, what the hell? How does everything seem so real? Why does it actually feel like I am in my bathroom right now? I then came to a realization. I am actually in bed right now sleeping, but at the same time, I am controlling a dream body of myself right now inside of my bathroom, and everything is all just a creation of my own mind. This thought process intrigued me so much that I got too distracted into thought and ended up waking up. When I woke up, I instantly went to my dream journal to record what I had dreamt, and was glad that I had finally had my first lucid dream. Now, I knew that this was probably not going to be my only lucid dream. I suspected that I'd probably have more lucid dreams in the future. But what I didn't realize was that just this one lucid dream was going to not only spark more lucid dreams in the future, but those lucid dreams that I would then have in the future would eventually change my entire perspective on reality. When I began to lucid dream, I realized that there was a strong contradiction in my experience, because these experiences, they weren't real at all. They were dreams created by my subconscious mind, and they weren't real. They were a figment of my imagination. They were dreams. However, on the contrary, these experiences that I was having in these dreams oftentimes felt more realistic and more real than the experiences that I would have in real life. And so this made me question more about reality. Why was it that in my dreams I was having experiences oftentimes more vivid than my reality? And they weren't real though. These dreams were not real at all, but oftentimes felt more realistic than my reality. In a way, it was kind of an entertaining thought for me that I had a memory, a real experience so vivid and clear that was also impossible for anybody else to have experienced with me. This brought me down many more trains of thought about life and reality itself. So the first thing that I came to fully understand through lucid dreaming was that nobody experiences reality in its truest form, or what we call reality in its truest form. It's more their mental interpretation of it. To make this more understandable and relatable, look at the light spectrum as an example. As human beings, we are only capable of seeing a very small portion of light. Anything that radiates outside of our visibility range is, well, invisible to us. This does not mean that these other light radiations simply do not exist. In actuality, there are immense amounts of this light radiation everywhere, and it is used for information to be sent through the air and to your TVs and cell phones. So I knew this before I started to lucid dream, but previously I had never really taken the time to really think about it and fully come to terms with this idea. And it doesn't just apply to our physical senses, things outside of the light spectrum, right? This also applies to more than that. There are so many things that we are currently feeling, hearing, seeing, and sensing that we do not perceive of or experience just because we mentally filter it out. A good example is if you're wearing clothes right now or a shirt on right now, you could probably, if you put your awareness to it, you could probably feel your shirt up against your skin. Like I can right now that I put my attention to it. I can feel my shirt like up against my skin, right? And that's something you can feel. And it's also something that is there through your entire day. And you're I guess feeling it the entire day, but you never are aware of it because you never put your attention or focus to it. So therefore, you never really experience it. And so that's just one example. And it applies for so many more other things. There's so many things in the world that you do not experience because you mentally filter it out, because your brain decides that it's not important. The second thing that I began to realize was how often I was on autopilot. And autopilot ties into what I was talking about earlier with your brain filtering stuff out, except it has more to do with entire sets of actions that you oftentimes perform, right, that goes by you unconsciously. Have you ever been in deep thought about something and then realized that you accidentally grabbed a knife instead of a spoon for the cereal that you were going to eat that morning? This doesn't just apply to making food in the morning. It applies to just about every frequent action you have stored in your memory. When you turn the handle or knob to a door, do you really consciously think about how you do it? When you walk, do you really think about every step that you take? I even noticed while typing this script that the more I think about my typing, the slower my typing gets. As human beings, we are actually trained to excel really in automation so that our brains can perform more important tasks, right? So it doesn't have to think about the every day-to-day tasks that we do. It can instead be thinking about things like, what if we put the entire human race into one Discord call and then put the voices on reverb? What would that sound like? Or what if we made zero gravity sports? The list goes on forever, you know, the typical things that you think about randomly tend to be more important, believe it or not, than the tasks that you perform regularly. Going back to what I was saying though, the more that I would lucid dream, the more I would see the similarities between the mental state I would be in when I was in a normal dream and the mental state that I would be in when I was on autopilot, just performing the same everyday actions that I normally would. When I was in a non-lucid dream, my mind would often drift at the will of my dream. It did not feel that I could consciously choose what to think, but that my dream would also do that for me. In my first lucid dream, when I became lucid, all of my surroundings became clearer as I became more aware of them. The similarity that I found between autopilot and non-lucid dreams was that in both of these, I had a decreased awareness of my surroundings. After realizing this, I also realized how much of my life I was actually unaware of. I decided that I wanted to spend more time aware and less time on autopilot. And eventually I got better at it, and I became more and more aware in my real life as well as in my dreams. And I'd have more lucid dreams because of it, but also I would have a better retained memory and a better awareness of my actual life. This brings me to my last point, really, and that is that lucidity, I originally discovered it in the dream world, and that's where I began to incorporate it first, was in the dream world. But I realized that lucidity was just a way of living. It was a way of life in general, and you could carry it over into your dream world, but it was also an important thing to have in the real world. There were times when I valued my ability to go into autopilot and drift into thought, but there were also times when I began to value my growing ability to maintain lucidity, to actually be aware of the things that I was thinking and doing, to be able to act more consciously. These were things that I had also become to value and work to become better at. A lot of my creative ideas would often come in times when I was in this lack of awareness or in autopilot. However, I also began to value my increasing ability to be more aware in the moment and be more aware of my surroundings, be more conscious while in my waking life, as well as in my dream world. But I began to also see the importance there in my waking life, to be more conscious in the moment whenever I felt it was necessary to be. If after watching this video, you guys, the viewers, if you find lucid dreaming interesting after watching this video, feel free to click on the links in the description below, and those will take you to videos from other people that I found useful when I was trying to learn how to lucid dream. Or you can click on the banner in the top right of your screen. That will do the same thing as clicking the links below. It will take you to a video that has to do with lucid dreaming on the topic, and will help you guys out if you're looking to lucid dream. Whether you're trying to change your perspective on reality, or if you're trying to have a few fun dreams, lucid dreaming is definitely a great hobby that I'm super glad that I was able to pick up on in the last few years. Thank you guys for sticking till the end here on this video. I hope you've enjoyed this so far. Making videos is something that I really enjoy doing, and it means a lot to me that you guys stuck to the end here. and I'm super grateful to have an audience to share my videos with. And if you'd like to see any more of my videos, they should be on the right hand side here, basically in between my hands here. There should be like 2 videos that you can click on if you'd like to. Also, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I make sure to read all my comments and I try to respond to as many of them as I can. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.